today is a little bit special. It's something that we've been working on in a way in the last 1 year. We've used to do 7 criteria. We have not done too bad, lah, guys. You know, after using 7 criteria, I would say we buy the safest property that is available, but we do miss out some opportunities, which is why we thought if the 7 criteria was perfect, we should have identified all of these opportunities, the ones that we missed. So we probably missed like 3, 2 major ones, one okay je lah. That was the reason why we thought the 7 criteria requires some level of updating, and rightly so lah. Basically, from context point of view, why do we do this? We just generally trying to provide different independent POV from anyone looking to buy investment property or own stay property. And we want people to basically use data to buy. And we also wanted to cover the incorrect facts being used to sell these properties. So this is basically the reason why we do Better Royal, why we do Deal or Grill. And with the 8 filter, I suspect the developers and the agents will hate us even more. We already, a lot of people don't like us. So a lot of people don't like Far Capital, Faizul, don't like Sean, don't like Young. After this 8 filter come out, man, if you know how to use this calculator, no one can bullshit you. Not even me. Literally no one can do it. We did test our 7 filter with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT cakap, okay, our 7 filter is good, but here's what is missing. So I was like thinking, okay, we didn't miss it, tapi we didn't highlight it properly. So which we then take that into consideration and then we change a couple of things. So that's the reason why we want to launch the 8 filter, why we are revamping the 7 criteria, why we are giving a major upgrade. If you look at it, I'm already giving you a hint. So this is how brutal the new 8 filter is going to be, guys. I would say there are 2 projects that we basically missed out as of today, whereby it has registered more than 10% capital gain. It has also gotten more than, let's say, 500 ringgit positive cash flow. And the 2 projects that we miss out is South Link, Bangsa South, and the other one is Park Region at Desert Park City. So if you have attended Far Capital's webinar before, you will know we're actually quite honest, guys. We tell you as it is. So when we do it, we're not shy to go and claim we do it. And we miss out certain things. We're also humble enough to go and say, hey, we miss out certain things. So why did we miss out? And what can we do to better our success rate moving forward? So that's the whole idea. So the team at FarCap is always going to continue to learn, continue to improve so that we can improve our odds of being able to say that making money in real estate is extremely predictable. It's not guaranteed, but it can be very, very predictable. Okay, so that's basically part of the inspiration in terms of why did we miss these properties? I mean, we've gotten a lot of properties, but why did we miss these properties? And the best part here is that there are some properties that we got it, no, we brought it to Far Capital and client is able to buy 30, 40, 50% discount. And we give them a rating of grade C, only for them to perform like a grade A property. So we thought it's going to be a grade C property, only for it to perform like a grade A property. So even though we brought those projects, so for example, these 2 are the one that we miss. But we've also brought projects where we thought it's going to be a B, turns out to become an A. We thought it's going to be a C, a D, turns out to become an A. We had a project in KLCC 3 years ago. We could have gotten it for 1,150 ringgit per square foot. We brought it for clients and we label it as grade D because of the negative cash flow. And no clients end up buying it. So grade D, negative 1,000 cash flow, cashback, cash out pun tak banyak. So we end up not buying it. So no one end up buying it. Same project today, make 200,000 capital gain, 2,000 per month positive cash flow. Can you imagine? A project that we label as grade D. And we still thought it was the best thing you can buy at KLCC. And we brought it in, but we told people it's going to be negative cash flow. Turns out, today positive cash flow by 2,000 because the market in KLCC has recovered completely. And not only that, capital gain-wise is above 200,000. So which is why it became a motivation for us to upgrade the 7 criteria so that we have better strategy to filter property. So long story short, because the past criteria was good, but it wasn't perfect and it wasn't great. So that's the inspiration why we had to change certain things. So I always tell people, when you become a FarCap client, every year you become a FarCap client, we are just going to get better. Now, I want to very quickly introduce the team that works hard. to deliver the 8 filter. I already know we're going to have a lot of people who hate us because all their property is going to be 1 star, 2 star, maximum 3 star, and they tell you bullshit lah, far capital and apa semua tu. So let me just remind everyone who's gonna talk shit about us, the core team behind it, and see whether you can find better qualified people to go and do your filter. And for those, for example, who think they can do a better job, my response to you guys here is that go ahead and do it. I think the market is good if many people can basically do accurate property filter so that you guys can buy better property. Does that make sense, guys? So the core team behind the property filter, which is our research team, is led by, obviously, our one and only Zakri. So Zakri has got not just a degree, but he has got a master's, and his master's is in real estate and is from one of the top universities in the country called University Malaya. The background here is that he was also had a stint as a property valuer, and he was a guest lecturer at University Malaya. So bukan kaleng-kaleng. So, some, 25-year-old agent talking shit about, what we are doing and whatnot, go finish belajar dulu. So that would be my message. Those who come in peace, great. But otherwise, you better have substance. And I don't know whether you watch Suits. So apparently we only hire from, Suits only hire lawyers from Harvard. So we only hire people from University Malaya, apparently. So which is why the next panelist, if you look at it, the second lady in command. So LB is not Louis Lid lah, obviously. Also have got a degree in real estate in University Malaya. And of course, is assisted by our latest new joiner in the team, which is Azrid, which also has got a degree in real estate University Malaya. So long story short, everyone who's doing research at FACAP today are a University Malaya graduate, and they graduate from real estate course. So just to give you some sense, so we don't take any Tom, Dick and Harry. In the interest of full transparency, these are the properties that we have bought pre-COVID. So that means before 2020. So when we introduced the 7 criteria in 2019, so in a way, these are properties that was bought before the 7 criteria matures. Now, if you look at the average rental yield in Klang Valley as of today, whereby people are getting below 5.5%, we have done quite all right because even our worst property is 4.9%, while we have a lot of properties hovering at about 6% all the way to even 7%. So again, this is nothing great, but it's really not bad lah. So pre-COVID. So this is what happened when you buy property in a way, right? You try to buy the safest property, but you don't follow a full set of bulletproof criteria, right? So because the 7 criteria haven't matured. So we are getting anything between 5% all the way to about 7%. So now let's look at our performance post-COVID. Our worst performing property is giving 6.2%, which I think that number has to be revised because today we've got rentals about 2001, 2002 lah. So that's now should be about 7%. But anyway, let's bagi Chan. We are getting lower 6%. Our highest today is close to 11%, guys. So worst is 6, best is 10.9, which is close to 11%. That's what happened when the 7 criteria matures. We got better, the team got better, I got better. So we just end up buying better properties. And obviously, because we had COVID and there was an economic slowdown, there was a recession, we had a lot of opportunities to buy property at a wonderful price point. We're able to buy things at 20, 30, 40, 50, 65% discount. So, which is interesting because post-COVID, we had crisis and then we are able to go buy things cheap. So now we've got a World War III looming. So there's a real possibility we're going to be able to go and replicate what we did during COVID. We did quite well post-COVID. We've rented anything between, low 6% all the way to double digit. So then, since 2024, we decided to change things up, upgrade a lot of things, discard a lot of things that doesn't work. Because we, again, like I said, as a company, we continue to learn. And this is our performance 2024 onwards. So in 2024 onwards, our performance has gotten even better. And by the way, guys, all the rentals that I quote, these are all 1 year long-term rental. I'm not talking about doing Airbnb bullshit. I'm not talking about doing a 2 weeks, 1 month tenancy. This is a 1 year tenancy. 1 year tenancy means if you do short term, you make even more. So this is not one of your KLCC plays whereby everyone just sell you Airbnb. Without Airbnb, everyone lose money. With the Airbnb, you make a few hundred ringgit. So we had a pre-COVID before 7 criteria matures. Then we had post-COVID all the way to 2024. And then post-2024, our level of performance have gotten even better. This is giving birth, the prelude to what is going to be called the 8 filter. This is now the new 8 filter. Again, I can guarantee you, if you apply this, number one, you will never buy a bad property. Your goal, guys, is to find property that can give you a minimum 3-star rating, either for cash flow or capital gain. Your goal is to get minimum 3-star. If you can buy 3-star for cash flow, means it's going to be cash flow positive. If you buy property for capital gain, minimum 3-star, means you're going to make at least 30 to 50,000. So today, now, we no longer rate property on one dimension. So first, we have to determine whether this property is for capital gain or is it for cash flow. And then only we apply the filter to ensure that we can actually rate the property properly. So there are going to be properties whereby from a cash flow point of view, koyak 1 star, tapi capital gain can be 4 star, 5 star. You janganlah beli property tu if your goal is to get cash flow. Does that make sense? It does not mean that the property is going to be bad. It just means that that property is not for you because your goal is cash flow. Therefore, why buy a capital gain property? We had the 7 criteria, which is on your left, which is we had median, we had new versus old, we had tier, we had booster, we had supply, we had maturity point, and then we had multiple rental option. So again, guys, 7 criteria has helped us to outperform the market by minimum 1 to 2%. So it wasn't bad. But the 8 filter is going to be something next level. This is like the Iran-Israel war. We send 7 criteria ni macam the first few hundred missiles lah. The 30-year-old stock, 40-year-old punya stock, kita pergi hantar. So that the Iron Dome tu pecahkan itu, habis bullet dia. Then only we enter the real one. So see, I even use example which is actually quite current. It's not like we're no longer using median, new versus old ataupun tier, guys. It's all there, tapi what we did is that median, new versus old, tier is all now absorbed under one single criteria, which is price. So actually, our 7 criteria is now 31 criteria because for price saja ada 5 star ataupun rating ataupun benchmark. My team trying to get rating for each property berpeluh, guys, because there are so many things that you have to fill. But that's the commitment that we are making if we want to be the best. So we want to produce the best filter that people can use so that people don't buy bullshit shit property. So what has remained? So median, new versus old, tier is all now part of price. Okay, so kita gabungkan jadi 1 criteria called price. Booster we maintain. Supply is not just supply now, it's supply plus demand. MRO kita maintain. And then new, kita ada cash flow. So that means you will know this property cash flow wise macam mana. Number 2, USP. So for example, USP will allow us to predict why did Desa Park City punya property, right, end up getting a 40 to 50% capital gain upon completion, minimum. So kalau dulu we don't have it, betul lah guys? So now we've got USP, because if your USP is unique, your property will completely stand out, will be special, will not follow the market punya median. The second last point we added is this thing called ROC, return on capital. So you know immediately, if 3-star onwards, you make money. Either on cash flow ataupun capital gain lah. And we will separate both capital gain dengan cash flow. And last but not least, we are now trying to predict how easy it is for you to sell ataupun exit this property later. Because I always get question, right? How much can I sell this for? So guys, this is brutally difficult. And I suspect lah, as of today, this is probably the most sophisticated property investment filter in the world. In the world. 31 criteria you kena letak just to get rating and stars, guys. So we combine Robert Kiyosaki punya, cash flow and apa semua tu. So this is brutal. Susah gila nak buat. But we're happy that we are able to go and do it, because as of today, when we benchmark, then remember the property that we salah grading grade D, grade C, now properly get graded as grade B, grade A. So in many ways, we were wrong lah. We weren't accurate. Now the 8 filter we're gonna get even better. So we've done okay, like I said, 7 criteria. We buy the best property as of today. I think no one is getting 10% rental yield in the market other than, you know, our clients as of today. From a capital gain point of view, we have had clients who made 300,000 capital gain, tak sampai 3 tahun, but we still cannot beat your Desa Park City lah, that made 500,000 to almost 1 million capital gain. So we have done all right with 7 criteria, but I believe we can get even better. So 8 property filter is born today in the eve of the World War III. So the irony. So orang perang-perang kita sibuk hantar keluar property filter kan. It is what it is lah. From a timing point of view, I cannot control what happens outside. I can only control what we do dekat sini. I can identify the opportunities and use it completely to our community punya advantage. So remember, the first new filter is called price. So price saja, if you tengok dekat sini, has now got 5 criteria just on price. Number 1, what is the area median of new versus old? Kalau you tengok sini, ada area median got new and old. So area median saja dah ada 2. Comparable development, new versus old, pun ada 2. And then you got new launches, is the 5th criteria. Replacement cost is the 6th criteria. Number 7 is tiering new versus old juga. So in total, even for price, you're looking at 8 things to put. But price, in my opinion, is the most important filter. Long story short, Zachary reply to 15 for price saja. Brutal, guys. Nah, kalau lihat data for price saja 15. But if you can get the price to be correct, 50% of the job is done. Okay, let me repeat, guys. This is the most important criteria of the 8 filter, which is why ada 15 total variables yang kita nak kena collect just to get the price punya rating. Because if you can get this 4-star, 5-star, you are not going to lose money unless you bodoh. You just don't apply the rental strategy. So it's like giving you a Ferrari, but you bawa dia macam you bawa Myvi lah, king of highway, right? It's going to be a disaster. But you get price, you're going to be quite okay already. That's just the first filter we call price. Now, second one, we've got booster. So booster basically measures external factor that will either enhance or decrease property value over time. So one of the most important booster is actually job supply. So long story short, guys, if you buy a property yang ada minimum 1 booster, you already okay. Sebab today you buy the price point with that booster being completed, katalah MRT ataupun 10,000 new jobs being completed within walking distance, boom, you're going to make even more compared to today. So it's going to be crazy. So we can only award a development 5-star if they have minimum 3 booster. New jobs, new infra, new commercials. If you have limited upcoming supply, it will also be booster. Sebab apa? Kalau you have too many supply, it's going to be a problem. And then you got a positive demographic change in future. So basically, contohnya, is there presence of new blood of expatriates dekat situ? So for example, me and Sean always had this discussion. Bukit Jalil, is there a possibility Bukit Jalil to become a tier 1? And the answer to that is yes. As more and more foreigners coming to stay in Bukit Jalil, paying a rental of 4,000 all the way to 6,000 per month, Bukit Jalil will slowly be converted to become tier 1. Now, again, this is now a buy call for Bukit Jalil. Bukit Jalil today is more expensive than tier 1. So before people get excited, so people now paying tier 1 price point in Bukit Jalil. So this is the second filter, guys, which is booster. So what are new things that will come to the area that will help increase property value? Okay. So now, if you have a situation of tak ada booster, kita masih bagi dia 2 bintang, guys. So 2 bintang tu neutral lah. You're not going to make money, you're not going to lose money. But if you have oversupply and then you have a negative demographic movement, means expat is moving out macam kat Jalan Ampang, then it becomes a 1-star ataupun 0-star. Okay. Third one, which has become more important, is supply and demand. So there are 2 criteria yang kat sini. First, we try to measure demand. And number 2, we try to measure supply. Dulu, we only at supply. Today, we are also looking at demand. So, long story short, if you are within 30 minutes punya access to a job hotspot, you dapat 1 bintang. You ada TOD, you dapat 1 lagi bintang. You ada commercial access, ada mall, F&B ataupun office, dapat 1 lagi bintang. Amenities, school, hospital, you akan dapat 1 lagi bintang. And then new supply pressure. So for example, kalau supply tak banyak, you get 1 star, which total means 5 star. If supply terlampau banyak, you akan dapat negative. So from a supply point of view, you can see here. So if last 4 years, 5 years, and next 4 years, we have less than 2,000 new units, we consider it as 5 star. Tak banyak lah. Because over 9 years, cuma 2,000 unit tak sampai. We consider it as 5 star. Okay. If that number is 4,000, we consider it as 4 star. Because 9 years, 4,000 is still okay. Roughly about 500 per unit. 6,000 for 9 years is above 500 ringgit per unit. And then anything above 10,000 is 2 star, 10 to 20,000 is 1 star. Anything above 20,000 units is gonna be 0 star. So again, guys, this is no joke to go and collect this data. Then we have a mainstay which has become more and more important, which is this thing called multiple rental option. So for those who've been following Far Capital webinar for the last couple of years, you know we don't buy anything with only 1 rental option. The reason why we don't like properties, let's say in tourist area, macam PD ataupun Genting, ataupun KLCC, is because majority of them is being sold at a price point yang whereby the only time it can make sense is that when you do Airbnb. Which is why we try to avoid these properties unless it becomes available at the price point whereby even long-term rental can get break even. Then we become interested. Okay. So over here, if you look at it, we look at how many rental options available. We look at rental segmentation. Is it just local guy? Is it local race? Is it only local, single race? Is it local but multi-race? Do you have possibility of even doing expatriate, student? So all of that is taken into consideration juga. And if this is a TOD development, if it's within 30 minutes to 3 job hops, macam TRX, KLCC, Bukit Bintang, we give it a 5 star. If only 2 job spot, we give it 4 star. Kalau 1 hour to 3 job spot, which most LRT, MRT property akan ada, kita akan bagi 3 bintang. 2 star is only 2 job spot, 1 hour. And take more than 1 hour to get, to 1 job spot, we give it 1 star. Otherwise, we give it 0. And if there's a future, for example, today no MRT, but future got MRT. So kalau today you only got 1 or 2 rental option, but today in 3 or 4 years from now, there will be MRT being completed next door to you. So therefore, you're going to have access to more rental option. So we take into consideration today rental option, demographic, segmentation, and then we also take into consideration the future ones. Okay. So again, a lot of data sets we have to collect. Cash flow, very straightforward. Rental can make money or not every month. And we are not using, again, short-term rental. We are using long-term rental. Okay. So 5 star is given when you can cover 120% of installment. So you give 5 star. 4 star is given between 100 to 120%. 3 star when you can get break even. 2 star when your rental can cover 70 to 100%. 1 star when your rental is 50 to 70% of your installment. Means you negative cash flow by half. 0 star means your rental cannot cover even 50% of the installment. Okay. So USP, we essentially look at a couple of things. Number one, from a price point of view, like I said, price is the most important. So if price dah tinggi, so we give it 2 star. So if the facilities is top notch, macam M Vertica, we give it another star, even though it's high density. And then if it's part of a township dengan master plan, so this is like this Park City, we give it additional 1 star. And obviously, if the size and layout is again unique, is the only one available, then we give it another 1 star. So maximum you can get dekat sini is 5 star. Okay. So this is USP. So this is new, which is on top of cash flow. While cash flow is a bit more straightforward, but now we're talking about return on capital. Okay. So there are two sides of this. Number one, if you're not a far cap client, whereby you tend to buy property which requires capital, so if you can get rent from a cash flow point of view, let's say you put 50,000 down payment, reno, blah, 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 blah. So total capital, you put 50,000 in the property. And you can get more than 10,000 per year positive cash flow, which means your ROI is above 20%. We are going to give it a 5 star. Okay. So that means ASB is about 6 to 7%. If you can make 3 times of ASB, 5 bintang lah. Does that make sense, guys? So we use ASB, ASNB as a benchmark. So 20% onwards, boom, 5 star. Then for people who, like thousands of our clients, when they buy property, they don't pay any money. In fact, they get paid to go and buy property. So that means capital point of view, they tak pakai. They don't use any capital. So means even if you make $1, it's infinite ROI. But we only give 5 star when the positive cash flow is above 500 ringgit per month. So that means despite not putting any money to buy that property, you get 500 ringgit per month, 5 star. 4 star is 10 to 20% cash on cash return and 200 to 500 ringgit cash flow every month. 3 star means 7 to 10% return on capital. So if you are not using any capital, 0 to 200 ringgit cash flow is 3 star. Number 2 here is that for 2 star is like 5 to 7%, which is comparable to ASNB or ASB. Or ASB. Okay. So that one we will award 2 star rental break even biasanya. And for 1 star, normally below 5%, we award 1 star, covers only 70% of the rental. And again, 0 star, if return on capital is less than 5%. You'll be better off just putting the card Airbnb. For capital gain, return on capital, if you can make 100,000 minimum or 100% return on capital over 5 years, we award it 5 star. So 6-figure capital gain or 100% return on capital. If you put 50,000, you make 100,000, it becomes a 5 star. Which means your return every year from capital gain is 20% a year. Because 100% for 5 years, divide by 5, 100 divided by 5, you got 20% per year. So guys, this becomes a little bit technical. So you can tulis and kira-kira. Or you can screenshot this if you want. But long story short, it's very difficult to get 5 star of cash flow, ROC, and capital gain. For example, if you can get 500 ringgit per month positive cash flow and 100,000 capital gain, then it awarded 5 star. Okay. I see a comment. How to get such capital gain nowadays? Almost impossible. Well, not really. So for example, if you are talking about profit, so you either cash out from your profit, basically 3 ways, guys. First is that you buy property and then you sell it after 5 years. So you take the balance. So your 100,000, okay, profit. So you buy and then you sell after tolak tax and cost. Number 2, you can refinance the property. Because property value go up, you don't want to sell because you think it's going to continue to go up. Okay, you can refinance, cash out. You're also taking profit from the property as long as it doesn't go negative cash flow. In my opinion, that's already you cashing out. Third one, which is what a lot of far capital clients are doing. There are a bunch of people who are buying multiple development with 100, 200,000, 300,000, even 500,000. We get cash out upfront. We get your cash out upfront, and here's the best part. Some of these property are not even negative cash flow after a 300,000 cash out upfront. So again, this might sound impossible to you because you're not buying the property at the right price point. Because we have clients who are getting this in the first year cash out. Buy property, buy a 50% discount, put the rental strategy, they are getting break-even rental. So they're getting 200,000 cash just like that. We have multiple properties that does this as of today in the last 3 to 4 years. Buy at the right price. If your price makes sense, you're going to make money either later or today. If your price doesn't make sense, just like people who buy Iskandar Johor 10 years ago, they all lose money until today. This is interesting. So the question here we ask here is that we want to see what's the level of liquidity of the property if you decide to go and sell it. So basically, we look at 4 things. And one is the interesting bit whereby we look at the landed property price gap. Because we've come into a scenario whereby you buy higher 600,000, but landed property opposite or nearby is only 500,000. So while cash flow is good, price is great, people find it very hard to go and sell simply because, you know, it's priced the same price point as per landed property. So long story short, in order to get a very high rating for multiple exit option, we look at price, which is the first criteria. Number 2, we look at cash flow. Number 3, we look at landed price gap. Number 4, we look at USP. Because if your USP is very high and you have a rare property which is available in the market, then the probability of you exiting is going to be much higher. So guys, that's it filter. Guys, we've been working on it for 3 months. My hope, yeah, is that all of this can be fully digitized. 1 year from now, you just key in details, number of the property filter automatically go and collect the data, collect for you, and then give it the rating. So that's my hope lah. I honestly don't care about patent. In fact, I think you know, similar to Elon, you know, I will make it open source because the more people adopt this, the better. Number 1. Number 2 here is that if the developer adopt this, you know, they want to be more careful because they want to, you know, obviously they want to launch property that fills the filter, right? That fills minimum 3 star, betul, I guess, because 3 star is not easy to go get. So it just means you guys are just going to end up buying safer property. So my goal, my mark in the property industry is to make it safer, as safe as possible for everyone. That's it. So if I can get the developer to buy into this and they begin to build property that meets most of the criteria, I'll be happy to give it for free. I don't give a shit about patenting or trying to make a few ringgit or berpuluh ringgit from a membership. I want to completely smash the misinformation which is available in the market as of today. Because I believe if developer build property that is safe for people to buy, people don't lose money. When people don't lose money, they can buy property safely. Because we've seen the impact of what happens when you buy the wrong property and people suffer greatly financially. And, you know, some people gonna scam, you know, with developers, you know, some agent. Again, most of the developer agents are 80% good guys, good player. Is the 20% that is making it look bad. I don't intend to patent this. I know I might sound stupid, it's fine. I didn't do it for the money anyway. Like I said, I'm hoping that this can be fully automated. And I think we are not going to be too far away from that. I would say maximum 2 to 3 years. Thanks to ChatGPT as of today. You know, like I said, I'm hoping that this can become widely available for everyone. It's not something that we didn't develop this to make money. Similar to 7 criteria, we develop it so that we can use it to identify safe property. Now we use filter to buy the best property. So there are questions here. How do you filter for under construction property? How would you know cash flow? Kalau you tengok dekat price point tu, kita compare median of existing property. So we will compare to comparable property, which is why we can get above 6% every time. Because we compare with existing property. Okay, this one looks similar to what we are buying. This is the current rental rate. Better still, we buy better property. So even the current rental rate, we already make money. So can you imagine? We buy better property. is already making money based on this medium spec property. Now we buy better property. So we will end up giving a capital gain rating and a cash flow rating based on the 8 filter. So remember, we have 8 filter, guys. Not all 8 filter will be used to calculate capital gain rating ataupun cash flow. So if you look at it, let's say cash flow first. What do we look at? First, we look at cash flow. We look at booster. Now and today, we look at multiple rental options. How many rental options are available? Segmentation. We look at USP. How unique is this property? And we look at return on capital. So that's how we give cash flow rating. Now for capital gain, price is very important. So if you notice, in the cash flow rating, price not important. Booster, for infra and jobs, supply and demand will determine the current and future value of the property. USP, and now you got your return on capital for capital gain. And last but not least, multiple exit options. I think the mandate for me and the team, you guys have been following our DOG and our Battle Royale. So I think we probably have reviewed about 50 properties. So I think first things first, in the next 45 to 60 days, is that the 60 properties that we have reviewed in the past, we're going to use the 8 filter, all right, so that you guys can have a look. And don't worry, guys, it's for free. So as far as what you want is the general overview rating, it will be for free. So again, this is the new 8 filter that we are launching officially tonight. So it's a dawn of a new era for us. This is more accurate than the 7 filter. And again, we didn't do very bad on 7 filter. We still can find 10% rental yield property with 7 filter. Now with this, I think we can do even a better job. So we took the liberty to compare a bunch of highly rated KL city center properties. So this just to give you an example. The 2 top highly rated property in the KL city punya vicinity from a rating punya point of view was Dawn KLCC by Chin Hin and Skyline Embassy previously by Ajal, now by TS Law. So you can see as the best, Dawn has got a 3.3 star capital gain rating. Skyline Embassy has got 3.6 star capital gain rating. And from a cash flow point of view, both are 3.6 and then 3.4 respectively. Abbey is the property that our clients bought. Dia dekat Bukit Bintang. Today, this property, guys, our clients are getting 300,000 cash back, cash out, and it's not negative cash flow. If they don't take cash out, their positive cash flow is above 1,000 per month. So you can see here, and this property, we actually give it a rating of just grade B when we launch it. Grade B, grade C when we launch it. I think klien dia malam ni kan, you remember when I launched this, I wasn't very confident because the market wasn't very good and we are still using 7 criteria at that point of time. Okay, TRX pun tak buka lagi at that point of time. So today, the performance of Abbey is remarkable. 300,000 cash out, not negative cash flow. Those who don't take a lot, more than 100,000 cash out are getting above 1,000 per month positive cash flow. So we bought about, I think, close to about 90 units, at a price point which is cheaper than Dawn, cheaper than Skyline Embassy, 1,200 ringgit per square foot. So I thought we did quite well. And today, when you look at the performance, it became very clear. All right, it's a 4 star. Then we went to compare other popular properties. There was very hotly reviewed in forums, Reddit, and apa semua tu. So we took Tuan 3, Atera, PJ, and then Bamboo Hills. And then when you compare with the properties that we are buying, the rating is very, very clear. We are getting 4.7, 4.6 respectively, while the other properties are hovering at about 3%, 3%. Okay. So again, goes to show when you apply the filter, then things become very, very, very clear. It became very, very clear which property is the better one. We have entered Johor. So waktu at the height of COVID, MCO, we were given the opportunity to buy this at below 900 ringgit per square foot. So it was offered to me, but purchase, minimum 50 unit. I think 880 ringgit ke 890 ringgit per square foot. This is in 2021. I rejected it because I fight for my client. Dia minta 880 ringgit, I minta 680 ringgit. So obviously they reject my offer lah, guys. And then we end up buying a bunch of property. So for example, this one is 10 minutes to CIQ. And we bought it at 330 ringgit per square foot. 330 ringgit per square foot. So it's very hard to buy something at almost 9 ringgit per square foot when we are given the opportunity to buy something at more close to 60% discount. This was actually epic. Dekat Larkin, about 10-15 minutes to CIQ. So today, despite taking a 200,000, some clients take 300,000 cashback, the property isn't negative cash flow. So again, it's not that we don't recognize that RNF will be good. I've said this all along. Even at 1,001, 1,002, I still think that people are going to make money buying RNF once RTS is completed. But as of today, I can only give the rating based on what we have as of today. So guys, unfortunately, 8 filter will not be able to go and detect anomalies. There will still be going to be properties that we're going to miss out. Because why? There was no precedence. There's no precedence. There's no precedence of us having a RTS infrastructure between us and another country anywhere in Malaysia. So the jump of rental is not predictable. I have a POV, but I'm not willing to share that POV simply because I don't want to encourage speculation. Last but not least, we have a habit of buying the safest property. We don't buy high to get higher. 8 filter cannot predict property which is bought at top market price point to be higher. So 8 filter will miss potentially an RNF. Nonetheless, I don't think we are crying because like I said, the RNF buyers until today are not making money. We've got buyers from multiple project dekat Johor, all make 100k and above, maximum not 300,000 pun ada. I had a client who bought something for 580,000 2 years ago. Got offered recently 900,000. 2 years saja. Dekat Johor. So, we recognize there's opportunity with RNF, but is there a better property that we can buy today? The answer is yes. And that's what we are buying. Full stop. So again, 8 filter cannot predict 100%. I think we will predict 98, 99%. Quite accurately. But your Desa Park City anomaly, boom coming from China, Trump suddenly launched trade war, suddenly Desa Park City become even more hotter because, you know, Honky want to go stay there, mainland China people want to go and stay there. I cannot predict that. I cannot predict what Trump is going to do or the next US president. The 8 filter is not designed to go that way, just like the World War III. But if you focus on buying safest, like I said, anything 3-star and above, you're not going to lose money anymore. Okay. And again, price we have to use today. We cannot use our projected future price because if, for example, let's say I generally believe RNF will be a 1,500 ringgit per square foot property today, then this one becomes a 5-star. Make sense? But if I begin to play the game, all the other agent will say, well, based on the 8 filter, I also predict this property will become 500 ringgit per square foot higher. So once you go that game, everyone will begin to abuse it. So we're not going to 100%. But I think we're going to get 98%. So far, we only miss out 2, kan? Desa Park City and the Bangsa South. And I don't know whether we missed the South Link at Bangsa South because we're also buying soya dekat Duta Mas. That was the justification why we don't buy the Bangsa South property. Okay. So, like I said lah, we use a lot of the Warren Buffett's punya strategy picking stocks. So, like I said, I think this is probably the most advanced property filter calculator in the planet as of today. For stocks, I think a lot of people are doing it already, but for property, I think we're the first one. I don't think anyone else is coming close. And there was a question of people, can this be used just in Malaysia or any other country? Ladies and gentlemen, this is applicable to any other country. If you apply 7 filter in Singapore, you will make money. If you can apply the 8 filter in Singapore, you will make money. You will identify the opportunity that people cannot see. This is applicable everywhere. So like I said, this is what we missed. Part region was the one whereby we completely missed because, well, like I said, is a combination of a bit of luck, Desa Park City being completely unique, which is why you can see here from a USP point of view, Desa Park City scores 5. Southlink is the property that we pit against Soya. So until Soya gets completed, then we will know, because Soya is rated higher compared to Southlink. We'll see next year whether our 8 filter miss or it didn't miss. So like I said, we replaced the 7 criteria to now 31 criteria, which translates to 8 filter. And the data that we have to collect for one property is actually quite brutal. But I don't think anyone come close into collecting the same amount of data compared to us at Farcap. With that, I think I want to bring Sean first. I want to ask his POV.
Good job, man. Whoa. Okay lah. So good news for investors and clients, bad news for retail lah. Just when you thought, hey, as long as I can work hard enough in the research, I can do it. Good luck, man. There's no catching up at all. So the difference is going to be, like I always said this a lot of times, like there's a difference between home buyer and property investors. A lot of people just buy homes with their instinct, so-called lah. So when you kena toto, you instinct lo, you tak kena toto, you buy long term lah. Then there's a few things I want to say. I like the 8 criteria because it's more realistic, because like for price alone, there's this segment that I like, the replacement cost part. So from a realistic point of view, sometimes you look at price, even when price is constant, but your replacement price goes up, your criteria actually improves. I think that is real lah. So like, although so a lot of people don't see that from the, how do I know replacement cost how much? But if you have this, because we keep, like people with no life on like us, we keep checking construction costs all the time. Yeah, so that's one. The other one, I think a lot of people will not say this, because if you are the fanatic of the previous 7 criteria, the boosters cannot be duplicated. I think you missed out the clarification. Like you got 1 more, very good. You got 3 more, same thing. More malls is not going to help. So a lot more stations is not going to help also for train or MRT or LRT. Then the installment part, there's a criteria also, because it needs to be tied with a 35 years loan 4% thing, only it makes more sense. Because from a freshie point of view, I don't like, maybe I only got 20 years loan tenure, so the property wouldn't make sense already. Yeah, so I think that is one thing that is not in the slide, so I think it's good for everybody to know. Then from the dimension of metric I like, which is like, even you take MRT, a lot of people say, oh, because MRT, almost all new projects is close to MRT. The problem then is the distance towards job opportunities. But it was not in the 7 criteria, and I'm so glad that it's now here, but it's updated like MRT baru siap lah. So I think that is awesome, like less than half an hour. I like the time metric instead of station metric, because some station is far as hell. So I think that's great. So we will then recognize like TRX, KLCC, all those locations with job opportunities. But that one then can be duplicated. I don't know how it's measured lah. So then just now when the question is about to Singapore, Well, that one complicated. The amount of MRT stations to job opportunities, that one, but that one later, not our problem. Ultimately, it's very human. And I still cannot ponder how would you measure data bug city lah? That's the damn tough part lah. Then the USP part also. So I don't know because like up to this week I will officially produce my episode 400 for building reviews. So for building reviews, then like the USP, like when you have less unit, I try to create something as crazy like this, but what's the point? Because I'm not making money out of it any. Might as well just make videos. It's about
Oh, very
like
honest.
so it's about the number of units per floor against the number of lift, the waiting time, then the number of pools, the number of facilities and things like that lah. So then you add weightage to it and all. Then like when you do halfway, then why am I doing this? So yeah, I think that one then if it's included in the USP of the project, then I think it's okay. Like if it's under a township, if it's under a branded developer, so you have a little bit more style and things like that. But I like that it's diluted with the average, not a very heavy thing. So price ultimately determines it lah. So yeah, I cannot beat ChatGPT with this one. But awesome, man.
I mean, so to answer, so will we be able to go and predict the park performance of this park city? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Because it is a combination of very limited supply. Demand has gone up for this park city. It's the only one in KL that looks like that, feels like that, has that overall theme of a township. And then you combine it with trade war and preference from the mainland China coming up.
Yep.
Mainland China coming up, you've got multiple category. You got your tier 1, you got tier 2.
Yeah.
It's a tier 1 coming to buy. There's a vaccine. Even their dogs are like 30,000-40,000 one dog. So the dog eats better food than me every day, I think. From a nutrition composition point of view. so it's not gonna be able to go and predict that. But those days, we're just gonna say, this is rubbish. So now this is gonna be part of the consideration because of these unique capabilities that this particular development have. The USP is gonna score very high. Supply and demand is gonna score very, very high. Price point most likely is gonna be fair. That is really the question of if the demand is stable, so you're gonna make a lot of money from capital gain. If the demand increases, you're gonna make obscene amount of money. So it goes from we will never buy or we will never consider to now, hey, we can basically measure certain things. But we still not gonna be able to go measure the full thing. So for example, like I said, what's happening in 2025 cannot. Unfortunately. Market is fluid, the market is dynamic. I don't think we want to play God, but whatever that we can calculate, we calculate lah. We put it every thing.
That's why I really like the measurement against cost instead of price. Because price is so demand driven and you can never catch up. And like, okay, if you equate price, last time during the last bubble of JB, everything also solid. If you equate price lah, and all transacted price, there's 1,200 now, you buy 1,400 cheap, what? But if you're against cost, then there's a reality aspect to it. Then that one won't lari too much.
Yep. So I mean, like we learn lah. I mean, like we've done 7 criteria for 7 years now. So obviously there are things that there's a lot of things. I would say 80% we got it. We got 20% didn't. We didn't do very well. And the idea is to move that 80% to 98 lah. So maybe
But within this metric, landed is still not preferred lah. Because landed is just too, I would say, I just went Sri Gombak and I saw this project that was abandoned last time, now revived. Within like 2 months before show unit even launched, got sold out already. So it's so emotional driven and scarcity driven. People don't even look at metrics anymore. If you look at some more metric, no chance to buy it. So that one then, whatever lah. That one also is you buy for your own stay one, then too bad lah.
In all honesty, I think landed is very simple because you can completely take the cash flow element. So that's first. I think if you were to build something for landed, it will actually be probably about 70% simpler compared to the high. Due to the fact that it's scarce. Number two, the replacement cost is also very, very clear. Number three, the comparable property is also very, very, very clear. Benchmark against deal versus old is actually very, very, very clear. So it's actually simpler to go do for landed. So in many cases, guys, senang cerita macam ni lah. If you get to buy new, ni bagi tip free for malam ni. So if you can buy a landed property from a price per square foot point of view and net price per square foot point of view, let's say at just a less than 20% premium versus the older property more than 10 years later, and your property is gated and guarded,
buy.
It's confirmed grade A already. The only time that will not happen is when the property is located in places whereby, from a structure point of view, it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
So that means, tanah dekat lombong, mendap, cracks here and there, maintenance becomes an issue. That'll be the only time you don't see this. But everywhere else, it becomes quite predictable. So for landed, you see comparable property opposite. If you're not paying more than 20% premium, whack. You are not going to lose money.
Plus, you're not there for public transport anyway.
You're not there for public transportation. You're not there for the cash flow bit. You're only there for capital gain.
Yep.
So I would say 20% and below is a grade B. You can buy at similar but better property, confirm grade A already. More than 100K.
Oh, but you all spent 3 months, 3 years do this.
3 months.
3 months. Kesian je team you.
Okay lah. Well, they can put their degree to good use now.
At least luckily.
Yeah. Compared to the valuers who have got similar degree, what is the method of comparison? Last time situ 700,000, so kita value 700,000.
Yeah. So I just want to shout out to the team. That's why a lot of just to make things clear. So I made a video about how your team do research. That everyone says whatever lah. But now it just got bad. It just got worse. So to just study one project is doing a thesis already lah.
Yeah. But we have a little bit of an unfair advantage. We are spending few 100,000 a year to buy data. We're hoping to automate a lot of things. And like I said, the whole goal here is that we are investing that kind of money. Then, the idea is to build AI agent to properly collect and collate the data to a meaningful format that people can use. So yeah, automation.
It's I can't sue because so now it's all the data part So whether you like it or not from visual, right? Okay, I tell you rental how much, but the swimming pool you like or don't like cannot So you need to see it yourself So that's where my video comes in. But I don't think can beat your automation You physically go one by one.
But here's the thing, right? We can calculate what can be calculated, but we cannot calculate human emotion. So that's what your video is doing, right? So there are just things that cannot be automated.
Yeah.
Personal preference. Does my kids feel safe here, staying here? My family is going to be okay, Is they able to support my young family?
Yeah, my mother-in-law stays there.
So those are the things that I think, your video is capturing. And I think people, like I said, they want the data, they come to fuck up. They actually get to look at the property without having to go have a look. So in a way, 400 properties, guys, you don't even have to come up from your room to go and see. This guy go and check the longkang and semak how big and apa semua tu.
Yeah.
Which is, I have never thought of doing it lah.
Right? Don't do. You do this
Yeah.
better.
So I thought it's a very interesting complementary work. Well, you keep on continue doing the good job that you're doing. A lot of people enjoy the fact that they don't have to come to KL to go and see certain properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, we can provide the quantitative. You know, you are
Cool
give
fact, because of our conversations, like every week, okay, I missed 1 week only last week. Because of these conversations, I just got invited for lunch with 4 developers already. Okay, some good, some bad lah. Okay, some good, some bad lah. So yeah lah. So not like a lot of developers are actually referring to this lah. We thought like I chincai do, but actually a lot of people is watching this lah.
So in a way it's a thankless job, but well, we do what we need to do lah.